Good afternoon. Let me continue with the lectures. Today's lectures topic is on enhancing decision making. As usual, they have given us some video link. Video case 1, Fresh Direct uses business intelligence to manage its online grocery. Video case 2, business intelligence helps the Cincinnati Zoo. So these videos are available in the public domain such as YouTube. Please search for it and go through it. As usual, we are not going to go through it here, but you can do it at any of your free times. With that, let's look at the learning objective for today's topic. The first learning objective for today's topic is what are the different types of decision and how does the decision making process work? How do information systems support the activities of managers and management decision making? So this will be the very first learning objective, and it covers quite a big area. First of all, we're going to look at different types of decision and how the decision making process work. Next, we're going to look at how information systems support the activities of managers and management involving in making decision. Moving on, we're going to look at how do business intelligence, or in short form we call BI, and business analytics support, BA, decision making. So these are the two main areas that everyone is talking about it today, business intelligence and business analytic. And how these two main areas are critical areas supporting your process of decision making. Moving on, we're going to look at how do different decision making constitute in an organization use business intelligence. What is the role of information system in helping people working in a group make decision more efficiently? As usual, we are given one problem here to be discussed. Is related to the country Germany, where Germany wins the World Cup with big data at its site. So let's see what is the problem. The problem is extreme competition, opportunities from new technology. So the problem is there is an extreme competition from other service providers or technology providers, and also there are too many new technology. So sometimes making decision which solution to go for, which technology to go for, it will be a real challenge unless we have good reference that somebody can recommend to you for this particular industry or field. This will be the so-called best practices or best technology. But all this new technology, there are not many references or players where we can refer to unless we ourselves, we go for it and we learn from the trial and error. So some of the solution provided here, for example, use improved statistical analysis to identify player weaknesses and strength. Use new metric to improve player and team performance. So the solution provided here is where they're going to use this new technology, which are based on big data analytics to improve statistical analysis and to make use of that available data to identify player weaknesses and strength. At the same time, use this new metric to improve player and overall team performance. That is the whole idea. So they are looking at a software which is based on or developed on a big data analytic, which can be used for this purpose. The other solution provided or recommended is demonstrate the use of business intelligence BI to develop better performance metric. Moving on, we're going to look at decision making and information system and the value, the value it has or it brings in improving decision making process. Improving hundreds of thousands of small decisions adds up to a large annual value for business. So we're going to look at how we can use this kind of software, BIBA, in improving hundreds of thousands of small decision-making process adds up to a large annual value for the business. Moving on, types. Let's look at types of decision. There are three types of decision that we have seen this before in some of the previous slide. One is known as the unstructured, where the decision maker must provide judgment, evaluation, and insight to solve problem. So very much depending on the decision maker. The person who is involved in making the decision must provide judgment, must do some evaluation, and also insight to solve problem based on information or data that he has within. The other type of decision that which will be in large numbers or quite common is what we call structured. Repetitive or routine involve definite procedure for handling, so they do not have to be treated each time as new. So why I say this is common reason, more and more companies or corporate firms are moving into this direction today, where they have kind of automated the decision making process based on, for example, if then analysis mechanism, which I have discussed with you in the previous sessions. So based on the knowledge or the contents that we have within the enterprise system in your corporate firm or in your company, they have developed many structured type of decision where the system itself can make repetitive and routine kind of structured decision based on experience, based on expertise input, based on best practices, procedures, and so on for handling, so that the problem or the decision will be not considered as a new, will be considered as a part of the expert system or part of the knowledge management system for decision making process. And we have another types of decision which is we call hybrid or semi-structured. Only part of the problem has a clear-cut answer provided by accepted procedures. The other part, where maybe it is unstructured, will be depending on decision maker in order to take action. So these are the three so-called types of decision. Remember, our learning objective 1 is to take a look at type of decision, and also we want to see who are the people involved or responsible in making decision. Definitely in making high level decision or strategic types of decision, it always comes from the top management or senior managers. And in many cases, based on scenarios or incidences or based on issues and problems, this group of people, which are known as the senior managers or the top management people, they always ended up, or they have no choice. They will be in a position where they have to make many unstructured decisions, and in most cases, this decision will be a new decision that you have never experienced before, not in your knowledge management system, not part of your enterprise system. So, if that is the case, uh, it's a good opportunity to include these types of decision into your expert system or into your enterprise system to be part of the knowledge management system. But this is a fact where they will make many unstructured decisions. For example, should we enter a new market? This is very much depending on the decision maker. It could be a new decision that came up today, or just or yesterday, for example. So there is no knowledge management system which can help you reason the data or the information regarding this new market is new. You might not even have it with you, or you might have it only partially. So due to that, it is very difficult to use automated system to make decision. Whereas the managers, the middle managers, they are involved or responsible for make more structured decision, but this may include unstructured component as well, because not necessarily they always deal with the uh, available decision, but they might also involve in making new decision as well, or as part of the senior managers or top management. They might be working along with them, so they might also ended up in doing some unstructured decision. For example, why is order fulfillment report showing decline in this particular area, Minneapolis, for example? Just an example. Also, where the fact is not available or data and information is still new, fresh, so you don't have enough data or information or knowledge to make decisions, so it become a unstructured decision. Whereas when come to the operational managers, rank and file employees, most of the time they make structured decision, or they involve in structured decision, not into the unstructured or semi-structured. Reason, they are the people who execute things on daily basis, on routine basis, and most of the tasks that will be carried out by these people will be repetitive in many cases. So it is considered as a structured decision, where the knowledge management system or the enterprise system should be able to assist them in such a case. So I think it's quite clear now that we have seen what are the types of decision that available or that need to make in any particular company, and who are the people and what type of decision they need to make, or they are responsible or they are involved in their job on daily basis. Similar informations are being displayed or presented to you in the next slide, where the senior managers are involved in unstructured decision, the middle management into semi-structured, and the operational managers or the line managers, or even individual employees and the group of staff involved in structured. And there are many examples of decision given for you for your reference. So please go through whichever slide that I skip during your second session, during the decision open discussion session for you to go through with your friends and try to understand. And if you need any help, come back to me, or drop your questions into the chat box. Let me see if there is any. Okay, so far so good. Okay, with that, I'm going to continue the 4 stages of decision making process. Remember, we also need to look at how the decision making process works. So there are 4 stages of decision making process. One is based on intelligence, where decision related to new decision, for example, discovering new challenges, new methods, new issue, new problems, identifying new issues, new problems, new challenges, new market, and understanding the problems occurring in the organization, which requires some kind of intelligence, or we call it business intelligence, in the process of making decision. So this is more difficult type of decision making process, because it requires some level of intelligence. That is the reason you will see later on we will be trying to use or recommend a related system, which we will discuss in a short while, how this related system or new systems can be used by the senior managers and middle managers in helping them to make decision process. Next, we call the design decision making process, or the stage which is known as the design, where it is basically identifying and exploring solution to the problem. You know what is the problem, but the thing is we don't have a proper solution. So in identifying and exploring solution, maybe more than one solution, you may have option to the problem, is what we call design decision making. So basically you are designing, you are thinking. It could be some critical thinking based on some critical data and information, or strategy, high level strategy in helping you in making decision. So it involves what we call multiple or more than one solution. Next, what we call choice, choosing among solution alternative. Quite similar to the design, but you already have some solution. In this case, you already have some solution, just matter of choosing which is the best solution, or which is the best alternative in decision making. And the last stage is what we call implementation. The last stage is known as implementation, making chosen alternative work and continuing to monitor how well solution is working. So these are the 4 stages. First stage is intelligence, where you involve in discovering and identifying and understanding. The next stage, you move into design, where you are identifying and exploring solution to the problem. The third stage is choice, where you choose one among the solution, like what I said, maybe the best practice or the best alternative. And the last stage will be where you implement that particular chosen alternative or option as a solution in your decision making process. So I think it is very clear now. We know what are the different types of decision, who are the people involved, and next, what are the stages, what are the 4 stages involved in decision making, which are intelligence, design, choice, and implementation. So the same informations are in the infographic format for you to understand better. So it starts with problem discovery, such as what is the problem, then you go into solution discovery, what are the possible solution, yeah, by looking at what are the possible solution. Moving on, you choose the best solution, and finally you implement or execute that final solution as a decision making process. Moving on the same topic, information system can only assist in some of the roles played by managers. Remember, as I told you earlier, information system or MIS only can assist. It cannot make a complete decision for you, right? So the senior managers or the middle managers still needs to be responsible or involved in that decision making process, and definitely they can use the system to assist them in the process of making decision. Classical model of management, which consists of 5 functions. What are the 5 functions of the classical model of management? Or in other words, we can say the 5 roles of management. Yeah, what the management do, in other words, they are involved in planning, organizing, coordinating, deciding, and controlling. Again, they are involved in planning, organizing, coordinating, deciding, and controlling. So these are the 5 classical model of management roles and responsibilities. And more contemporary behavioral models, where they do show or share, sometimes includes actual behavior of managers, appears to be less systematic, more informal, less reflective, more reactive, and less well organized than in classical model. So from experience that we know, model is one thing, yeah, like for example the classical model, where it tells you these are the 5 functions of the management, but when come to reality, when come to practicality, the actual behavior of the managers definitely will be differ or will be different from one individual to the other individual, which they claim to be less systematic, less structured, more informal, less reflective, less feedback or responses, more reactive, and less well organized, compared to the 5 function as stated in the classical model of management. That is the reality that we need to know. So with that, why they are highlighting that? So the MIS system or the enterprise system or the system involved or responsible in decision making can be used to assist the management team in making a faster and better decision making or action to be taken. In the next slide, what you can see is Mintzberg's 10 managerial roles. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly look at what are the functions or roles of the managers or management team, so that we understand where they need to make decision, what type of decision, and how they can make use of the information system in making decision. So out of these 10 roles, we can divide them into 3 main areas. One is known as the interpersonal roles. For example, figurehead, yeah, leader, liaison. So we can consider that as very much individualized interpersonal roles of the managers. Whereas the next 3, nerve center, disseminator, spokesperson, it can be considered as a informal or informational roles of the managers. The balance four, which are really involved in decision making. For example, the role of entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, disturbance handler, resource allocator, negotiator, negotiator to involve in negotiation, for example, uh, are the four areas where the manager will be involved in making decision. So these are the four main areas where you really need the assistance or the support from the system in helping their roles in decision making. Not in the category of interpersonal roles, not really in the informational roles, but under the decisional roles. So for your information, there might be some other roles of managerial, but as far as Mintzberg's model is concerned, these are the 10 main areas, and you can clearly see, or Mintzberg's have clearly highlighted which are the areas where the managers will be involved in decision making. And the whole idea why he has highlighted that reason, we can identify who are the managers involved in these decisional roles, and how they can be equipped with the knowledge and skills required in order to make use of the enterprise system or the decision making system in helping them to make decision. Continue on, we're going to look at three main reasons why investment in information technology do not always produce positive result. Because it is just a system helping you in making a decision, but we have to be cautioned that not all decisions or recommendation out from the system or from the MIS is guarantee or necessarily produce positive result. So we have to be careful. That's the reason why the top management, the senior management, sometimes they are involved in decision making process, not completely depending on the system. So the three main reasons are such as: one, due to the information quality. High quality decision require high quality information. So if the system lack of knowledge, lack of facts, lack of required data or information, for sure the system will not be able to make what we call high quality decision. So definitely it will be better recommended if the senior managers or the middle managers are involved in the decision making. You still can depend on the feedback or responded or recommendation made by the system, but you have to consider, you have to so-called visit back onto those decision or onto those recommendation by the system before you make the final decision. So the first reason is the quality of the information or the quality of the suggestion or recommendation by the system. Next, management filters. Managers have selective attention and a variety of biases that reject information that does not conform to prior conception. So it's again depend on managers. Not all managers are the same. They are different in terms of knowledge, in terms of exposure, in terms of experience. So definitely they will have some varieties of ideas in rejecting information. So these need to be considered need to be taken into consideration before making the final decision. Definitely, the system will be assisting them, will be guiding them to certain levels, but I believe the final decision need to be made by the management instead of the system. Unless the system has been used for many years and it is proven, accepted, then we have no alternative, or it's better to follow the recommendation by the system. But in some cases, it depends on case by case. It's good for the management to be involved or to be part of the decision making process. So management filters is the second reason why MI system do not always produce positive result. The third reason is organizational inertia and politics. Yeah, this is a bit difficult to control. It is not happening, or is not part of every organization, but in most cases, yes, strong forces within organization resist making decision calling for major change. Yeah, this is more to politics, yeah, influencers and so on. So you will find that some of the top management, they have very good influence or politics in making decision, and then the rest of the managers or the group of people or middle management or line managers, they have no choice. They just need to follow the instruction or decision made by this person for many reasons, yeah, or for some very specific reason. This happen in most cases. There are many examples, for example, that can be discussed, such as in purchasing a particular equipment, in purchasing a particular software, in sending someone for a for promotion or for training, for example, where it requires senior managers or middle managers to make decision, or to select some critical business strategy. Sometimes it's very much unstructured, and it requires the top management or middle management to make decision instead of the system. Definitely, the system is not equipped with political knowledge or influence based knowledge or data or information. So it's very much depending on the management team. With that, before we take a short break, let's take a look at another one or two slides. Still on the same topic, decision making and information system. High velocity automated decision making. So we're going to look at what is high velocity automated decision making, where using some complicated or sophisticated computer algorithm precisely in defining steps for highly structured decision. So in the case of, for example, business intelligence or artificial intelligence, which is a very common term in today's world at present, where the system, either the software or the enterprise system or the knowledge management system, is equipped or is designed and developed with some sophisticated, complicated, or fully automated computer algorithm, yeah, so that the system can be involved or can be used in making very precise in making defining step, yeah, precise defining step for highly structured decision. As we have seen in many cases, for example, highly complicated project, for example, launching the rocket to moon or to Mars or to the space, uh, and in a highly automated manufacturing task where there is no option for us to take any risk or failure, where the system is completely operating on its own, even in some medical cases, for example. So this is what is known as high velocity automated decision making process, where almost no human being or either senior managers or middle managers are involved. It will be completely, controlled by the system. Humans are taken out of decision. In other words, no humans are involved. In many manufacturing processes, many steps today, especially under the 300 under the very high uh, technology chips manufacturing, some of the high-tech manufacturing companies, for example, in the country like China, Taiwan, US, Japan, and so on, the tasks are completely automated, handled by robots. Completely handled by robots, where you don't see human being. Like in the fab, the manufacturing fab, 300 for example, almost no human being. It is completely handled by the system. I have seen that, but my experience is more onto 200 fab, not 300. Reason, in my country, in Malaysia, we don't have 300 fab. We only have 200 fab. But there are many in neighbor countries and in the developed countries where the operation is completely being carried out by robots, highly automated robots, and there is no room for mistake or errors. High-speed computer trading programs, trades executed in 30 milliseconds. That is another example of where humans are taken out from the decision making. Also, there was a incident in 2010 which is responsible for the flash crash, also caused by the system. So this kind of action or decision making requires safeguards to ensure proper operation and regulations are being followed. That's the reason why I mentioned earlier, it is a fully automated process. Just matter of no human beings are involved, everything else will be done by the system. It is a fully automated system. Okay, we're going to discuss three important so-called decision-making process or systems which will be very helpful or being used at present, popular in helping management team in making decision. One of the area is known as a business intelligence, which is a system used for collecting, storing, analyzing data produced by business. Okay, so when you have a BI, for example, business intelligence system in your company, basically you're using this system for collecting, storing, analyzing data produced by your business. And this data normally we store in a databases or in a data warehouses, or also sometimes we call it in data marts for making decision to take further actions and so on, right? There are many examples available that we can discuss on this. So that is one area, BI. The next area, like I mentioned earlier, is known as a business analytic. tools and techniques for analyzing data. For example, the online analytical process, or lab statistic models. There are many models available which can be used for business analytic purpose. Data mining, which is also very popular nowadays, which are being carried out by many companies in helping them to make better decision. So the second critical area or big uh, area is known as a BA. Basically, it is the tools and techniques that we can use for analyzing the huge amount of data that coming in, yeah, or that you are collecting, that you are storing, that need or requires analysis. Next, we're going to look at who are the business intelligence vendors. Yeah, basically what they do is they create business intelligence and analytic uh, solution or software or models or options to be purchased by firms, by any companies. Yeah, so they are the vendors uh, who will be providing these two solutions, which we call either BI or BA. So before we go and look into further